Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Paige, here once again with another video on Batwoman and their whole Season 1 thing. So we have part 2 of the Elseworlds crossover later on today from when this video will be released, which contains the live action debut, however you want to pronounce it, of Batwoman, played by Ruby Rose, of course. In the episode, we will see both Batwoman and her real-life side of Kate Kane. What we see in both sides in the episode is obviously for us to wait and see, but I am hoping for maybe some suggestions and hints to her backstory and stuff that we could see in her solo show, which is rumoured to start filming around April or May of next year, which is generally the time of year that they do film pilot episodes for new shows, and then they come back and start episode 2 and onwards around July and onwards. But in this video, we will actually be going over some character casting breakdowns for a handful of characters for Batwoman Season 1, which really hint at the storyline that they could be going for in her maiden season. And they actually sort of confirmed the predictions that we did on the channel a few months ago around the time that Batwoman was announced to be coming to the CW, you know, in regards to certain characters that could be coming on and maybe being like the main villains. So I am pretty happy about that, I'm not gonna lie. But of course, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of this gathering of characters? Does this interest you in the show more? Would you add one or two other ones and maybe take one or two away from the ones that are listed here? Let me know all of that in the comment section down below. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like on it to show support. So yeah, as I said, her debut episode is later today from when this goes up, so this video won't contain any references that Kate or Batwoman could make in the episode, so just remember that. But there are 6 characters included here, and a lot of them are pretty awesome characters, especially if you are a fan of Gotham-related stories from the comics, or specifically Batwoman. Now, they do have casting names, so we will have to correct them to who they are from the comics, as well as who they will be on the show. So, if they were casting Bruce Wayne on the show, they wouldn't call him Bruce, they'd call him, Kent. Is Kent the best word? I don't know, Kent or, I don't know, Clark or something like that, a cover name instead of their real name. And yes, I did just say Kent and Clark, Clark Kent, Superman. Wasn't intentional, it just happened. So to start off, we have a character being called Joseph currently, who will be a Caucasian male in his late 40s to mid 50s. Joseph is described as a former high-ranking military colonel who, instead of grieving the terrible loss of his wife and one of his daughters, formed his own army in order to make sure no one else has to ever go through the tragedy he had to experience. Joseph also leads a private security and logistics firm in Gotham City called The Crows. He is both extremely tough, political, as well as emotionless, but has one weakness in his life that makes him soften up, and that is his other daughter who he constantly tries to push away. Now, this is a pretty easy one. Joseph is most likely going to end up being Kate's father, Jacob Kane. Right at the end there, they say that there's a one thing that always softens him up, and that is his other daughter, that's Kate. Now, Jacob has always been a prominent character for the most part in the comics, whether that be on the helpful side of being, helping Batwoman, or being on the not so helpful side and being a bit of an antagonist for Batwoman. The first initial tease for Batwoman a few months ago on a character description did tease a complicated relationship with her father. The private security and logistics firm in Gotham City that Joseph leads, otherwise known as the Crows, could actually be tied into that, him making his own army. That is also known as the Colony in the comics, which essentially is a military organization that had the members actually trained in the style of Batman. So maybe that own army is the Colony and the Crows are something else, or maybe the description is trying to mislead you and make you think that there's 2 different things, when in the actual run of the story they're the same thing, and one's more of a public side of thing, where the public goes, oh, it's a good thing, but in private they're doing some other stuff that isn't that great. So maybe that could be a twist that happens in the first season. But yeah, the Colony's sort of trained in the style of Batman, and seeing that Batman seems like he won't be a thing on the show, they could make it that Jacob has been working on this for a while, and he was still getting source material off Batman in his final years to use in the development of this group. I guess the big question is whether he's going to be the villain for the season. There is a possibility around that. I wouldn't put your money on it. I think the next character we're going to be going over is most likely the villain. But maybe Jacob could be that recurring threat throughout seasons where, he's not evil, he's not good, he's just in the middle and can be a bit of a pain in the ass for Kate. The next character we have is a character currently being called Alexa, who the casting department describes as a 27-year-old Caucasian who is Batwoman's greatest enemy, basically her own personal Joker. Alexa is a woman who has experienced a tremendous amount of trauma in her more sensitive years. That has in turn caused Alexa to divorce herself from reality by living in a fantastical world where she is the star. Attached to Victorian attire, Alexa is a charming lunatic who manages to go from being psychotic to caring easily, which is why her unreliable behavior is a dangerous weapon in itself, might I say. Now, this Alexa character sounds exactly like the Red Alice character from the comics, otherwise known as Kate Kane's twin sister, Elizabeth Kane. Now, in the comics, Kate and her father believed Elizabeth to be dead for all these years, as Kate, her sister Elizabeth, and her mother were victims of a kidnapping gone wrong, in which Kate was thought to be the only one to survive, which is what is in Jacob Kane's or the Joseph description, the tremendous loss of his wife and daughter, and he was left with one daughter, that was Kate. The daughter that supposedly died was Elizabeth. But as we know from reading comics, no one ever stays dead, do they? So if this Alexa character actually does end up being the character of Red Alice, aka Kate's long lost, thought to be dead sister, which is most likely the case, then Kate is going to have more than a bit of a challenge up her sleeves, especially if the character is going to be displayed as Kate's version of the Joker. And, Red Alice is sort of like, Alice in Wonderland, so it would be cool if maybe they brought in Mad Hatter for an episode or two, Mad Hatter, Alice in Wonderland, that'd be pretty cool. The third character we have is one currently known as Sloane, who is a Latina in her late 20s or early 30s. Brought up in a tight-knit family, Sloane is both feisty, charming, and has incredible fighting abilities with soldier experiences, as she is one of the best agents for the Crows and always goes by the book. But Sloane is hiding a deep secret from her husband, which is that once upon a time, she was in love with Kate Kane. So if you are a massive Batwoman fan from the comics, or even just the casual fan of the character, it would seem that Sloane sounds very much like Renee Montoya. In the comics, she is one of the main and major Gotham City Police Department characters who actually ended up as the second person to take on the Question Mantle and also had a romance with Batwoman. Now, I'm sure that another option that many would be thinking of is that of Maggie Sawyer, who was Kate's other love interest in later stories. But seeing that she has already come and gone from the Arrowverse through Supergirl, it would make more sense for the series to play with the romance between both Renee and Kate. Now, if this character is Renee Montoya, it will be interesting to see if she will take on the Question Mantle. But it will also be interesting to see if this character is Renee, due to the fact that Renee Montoya will be in the Birds of Prey movie that starts filming early next year. Now, the Renee Montoya in the movie will be an older version. I think she's meant to be in her 40s roughly. So that could be how the Batwoman show can use the character as well, because it's a young, late 20s, early 30s. And maybe, if, the one on the show is the Question, the one in the movie is just normal Renee Montoya, then maybe that's a way they're able to, get around it, or vice versa, where the one in the movies is the Question Mantle. I have to wait and see. Up next is Landon, an African-American male in his early 20s who is devoted to Batman. Landon comes from an imperative legacy that has serviced the Cape Crusader with engineered gadgets. With Wayne Enterprises now abandoned, Landon is the one keeping it secure. While he is brilliant with tech, his social skills aren't exactly the strongest, as he goes out of his way to not make friends, after being betrayed by Gotham's bureaucracy. With a Dark Knight missing, Landon soon begins to understand Gotham City's demand for a new hero. Now, from the discussions I've seen online, most people seem to think and have come to the conclusion that Landon will be the son of Lucius Fox, that being Luke. Luke Fox was first seen in the New 52 comics and went on to become the second person to carry on the Batwing mantle. Now, as we know in the various forms of media that Lucius Fox has appeared in, he has been a help when it comes to gadgets and technology and just all-round assistance. So it would be fitting that his son jump into that arena as well. As we do know, not only the Arrowverse shows, but a lot of other comic book properties like movies and televisions and stuff like that, there is generally a tech person that assists the main character. Characters such as Felicity Smoke, Windshot, Gamby, Cisco Ramon, and even Micro from Punisher, they all fit into that category as the tech assistant, even though they do stuff outside of that as well. So why not give Batwoman a character by her side like that, who is, I don't know if they specifically say he's worked with Batman, it just says he's devoted and stuff like that, but maybe he's he was wanted to work with Batman. Have to wait and see. Now, if this is Luke Fox, which it most likely is, this doesn't really point to any other character, unless it is just randomly Lucius Fox, but I highly doubt that. It is hard to tell from this whether he will become Batwing on the show, but that could be something that they maybe wait until a later season to do. There's no need to rush it. They may tease it, though, throughout the season, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, the second last casting we have here is one for Meredith, a woman in her early 20s, a role that is open for any ethnicity, with preference to Asian or Latin actresses. She is described as carrying a lovely and heavy demeanor, which makes it easy to view her as an airheaded amateur. Although she is considered talky, she is deeply compassionate towards those the city has forgotten, with her compassion only surpassed by her own intelligence. Like Kate Kane, Meredith will have a secret life of her own in Gotham City. Now, the hot pick is that Meredith could potentially be the cousin of Kate Kane, that being Bet Kane, who is otherwise known as the superhero Flamebird in the comics. Batwoman and Flamebird have appeared together and teamed up many times in the comics, so it makes sense for Flamebird to be part of the series in one way or another. They could play her character off as like a sort of like a Roy Harper-esque type character on the show. Not sure if they would make her Flamebird straight away, maybe keep that for later in the season or maybe even in like season 2. But I think playing her off as like a Roy Harper type character wouldn't be a terrible move. And now we move on to the last character, who is currently known as Charlotte, a woman in her late 40s to mid 50s who is the mother of Meredith. Hence the same casting preferences is a part of this role. So, you know, Asian or Latino. Charlotte, a knowledgeable, fashionable, and motivated woman, comes from wealth built from an empire of dealing arms. But she uses this money with the intent on making Gotham a more secure and safe place due to the aid of her husband's paramilitary business. So it seems like, I don't know, it seems like they're going against each other there, but anyway. Despite the fact that it is damaging Charlotte's relationship with her daughter, she continues to pull the strings of Gotham City's elite. So if we are going off the assumption that the Meredith character is Flamebird, then that would mean that Charlotte is the mother of Flamebird. Now, from what I know, she isn't known in the comics, like name-wise that is, like she exists, obviously, someone has to have a mother, but nothing is really known about her, so this Charlotte character could be the first, like, original character on the show, which I don't think would be too controversial. I mean, you know, I don't think she's going to be like a main thing going out and fighting crime. She's just going to be something, you know, that's a relationship between, you know, Meredith and someone else, or, you know, Flamebird and someone else. So I don't think that's too much of an issue, just your first original character there, I guess. But thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments section down below your various opinions on these characters. Which one sounds the most interesting to you? To me, it's Red Alice. You know, I think she sounds really cool. You know, the Joker type of thing for Batwoman. But also having Luke Fox come into the show would definitely maybe tie some Batman stuff into it as well. Maybe some old Batman gadgets as well. I'm not expecting, you know, like a ridiculous Batmobile to come out, but we might get some like cool little gadgets that maybe he tinkers with and makes them very more Batwoman-esque for her. So that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, let me know all of your opinions down there in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, it would be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. And if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.